Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast.
It's great to be here.
Today we're jumping into the story of Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, she's this young artist who hasn't just, entered the music scene. She's really kind of exploded onto it.
Absolutely. And our mission today really is to look at those key moments, those influences that have shaped her journey so far.
Right. From her early acting stuff all the way to this massive music career she has now.
We'll explore that unique sound. She has that mix of pop and rock and the themes in her music that just seem to connect with so many people.
Yeah, it's really struck a chord. And we've got quite a bit to unpack here, haven't we?
We do. We've looked into her early life, how she got started, obviously the huge success of Sour and then Guts.
And her other projects too, right? The activism and things beyond just the albums.
Exactly. So, okay, let's dive in. Olivia Isabel Rodrigo, born February 20th, 2003, in Murrieta, California. What was her early world like?
Okay, so she grew up nearby in Temecula. She's an only child. Her mom, Jennifer, is a school teacher, and her dad, Chris, a family therapist.
Right. And here's something pretty interesting, actually, a fun fact maybe. Olivia was born half-deaf in her left ear.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, how that might have shaped her relationship with music and sound. But clearly it didn't hold back her passion.
Not at all. That's actually incredible. It kind of adds another layer to her drive, doesn't it?
It really does. And her heritage is quite interesting, too. She identifies as Filipino-American. Her dad's side, her grandparents and great-grandparents, they emigrated from the Philippines, and the family keeps up Filipino traditions, which she seems really proud of.
That's great.
And then her mom's side has German and Irish roots. So a real mix.
And musically, what was the vibe at home?
Lots of her parents' favorite alternative rock. Bands like No Doubt, Pearl Jam,
Okay.
The White Stripes, Green Day. So she was hearing that kind of raw energy pretty early on.
You can definitely hear echoes of that sometimes in her stuff now. So how did performing start for her? Was it music first or acting?
Well, it seems like music was always bubbling under. She did musical theater at her elementary school, started vocal lessons when she was just 5.
5? Wow.
Yeah, which led to local singing competitions. And then, funnily enough, it was her vocal coach who said, hey, maybe try acting lessons.
Interesting connection.
And she started piano around age 9, and by 12, she was playing guitar. But she said it was listening to Taylor Swift, like early country Taylor Swift,
Oh, okay.
that really sparked her own interest in writing songs and telling stories through music.
That makes sense. You can see that narrative influence. Did she get on screen pretty early then?
Yeah, her very first appearance was, I think she was 7, in an Old Navy commercial back in May 2010.
A classic starting point. So fast forward a bit, she starts getting more significant acting roles.
Right. In 2015, she's 12, and she plays the main character, Grace Thomas, in one of those American Girl direct-to-video movies, Grace Stirs Up Success.
I remember those.
Yeah. And that led to her moving to L.A., because in 2016, she got cast as Paige Olvera, who was a guitarist.
Oh, perfect.
In the Disney Channel show Bizaardvark.
Yeah.
She did 3 seasons of that,
Yeah.
and she was homeschooled during that time.
Bizaardvark was pretty popular. And then came the big one, the Disney Plus show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
February 2019, she lands the lead role, Nene Salazar-Roberts, in High School Musical. The musical. The series.
Quite a mouthful.
It is. But the show launched in November 2019, and people really responded to her performance. Critics called her especially magnetic.
And she wrote for that show too, didn't she?
She did. She co-wrote and sang the song All I Want, which was a promotional single. It really showed her songwriting chops were already developing. But, ultimately, her focus shifted. She left HSM TMTS after the 3rd season to really go all in on her music career.
A huge decision, but obviously the right one in retrospect. So that brings us to the Sour era. How did that all kick off?
Okay, so 2020, she signs with Geffen Records. And this is important. She negotiated ownership of her master recordings right from the start.
Wow, that's savvy, especially so young.
Incredibly savvy. Then, January 8th, 2021, bam, driver's license drops. Co-written with Dan Negro.
And the world just stopped. It felt like it anyway.
It really did. Critically acclaimed, obviously, but the streaming numbers were just insane. Broke Spotify's record for daily streams for a non-holiday song, like twice.
Twice.
Yeah. And it was the first song ever to hit 80 million streams in just 7 days.
That's staggering.
Completely. Debuted at #1 in the Billboard Hot 100, top charts everywhere. Olivia herself said it was the absolute craziest week of my life you can imagine.
Oh, I bet. And she didn't let up, did she? The follow-up singles kept that momentum going.
No, she really didn't. Deja Vu came out April 1st, 2021, debuted at number 8 on the Hot 100.
Still huge.
And that actually made her the first artist ever to have their first 2 singles debut in the top 10.
That's a record. Wow.
Yeah. And then came Good For You on May 14th. That one went straight to number 1 as well, her second number 1 single.
Just incredible momentum, leading
Yeah.
right into the album.
Exactly. Sour, released May 21st, 2021. Again, huge critical acclaim. People loved the honesty, the songwriting.
Felt very raw, very real.
Totally. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, stayed there longer than any other album by a female artist that year. She even did that cool Sour Prom concert film on YouTube in June.
Yeah, that was fun. It felt like she was just the artist of 2021.
While Time magazine agreed. They named her Entertainer of the Year for 2021.
Right.
She even shared this little clip of a Christmas song she wrote when she was 5 called The Bells.
That's adorable.
It was. And yet, a Billboard named her the best-selling singles artist worldwide for 2021. Sour was Spotify's most streamed album globally.
And driver's license?
Most streamed song globally. Just a total sweep.
Wow. And she took it on the road.
Yep, the Sour tour ran from April to July 2022. Big venues, sold-out shows. And for fans who wanted more insight, there was that Disney Plus documentary, Olivia Rodrigo, Driving Home to You, about the making of Sour, that came out in March 2022.
Right, I remember that. Gave a good look behind the curtain. And then, of course, the Grammys.
Yeah, the Grammys were huge for her. 64th Annual Grammy Awards. She got 7 nominations.
7?
And walked away with 3 big ones. Best New Artist, Best Pop Vocal Album for Sour, and Best Pop Solo Performance for Driver's License.
What a night that must have been. Solidified her status, really.
Absolutely. But interestingly, even with all that success, she was still focused on, honing her craft. She apparently took a poetry class at USC while she was working on her next album.
Oh, cool.
And a piece she wrote for homework actually became the basis for the song Lacey on Guts.
No way. That's a great little story.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, leads us perfectly into Guts, the second chapter.
Mm-hmm. Before Guts even dropped, in August 2023, she got the Brit Billion Award, youngest artist ever, for over 1 billion UK streams.
Just racking up the milestones.
Seriously. Then Guts comes out, September 8th, 2023, straight to number 1 on the Billboard 200 again.
And the theme this time felt a bit different, right? More growing pains?
Definitely. She talked about it being focused on growing pains, figuring things out, self-discovery, still raw, but maybe exploring different facets of that experience.
And the critics loved it, too.
Oh, yeah. Huge critical acclaim again. BBC News even called it the most critically acclaimed album of 2023.
High praise. And the lead single, Vampire.
Vampire, yeah. Released June 30th, 2023. Became her 3rd number 1 single on the Hot 100.
3rd.
And here's another record. Made her the first artist ever to debut the lead singles from their first 2 albums at number 1.
That's actually wild. Just shows the anticipation, I guess.
Totally. Then the second single, Bad Idea, right, which is just so catchy.
So good.
Came out August 11th, 2023. Another top 10 hit in the US and UK. She just kept delivering.
She really did. And she did another special concert for Guts.
Partnered with American Express for an exclusive show in October 2023. And really commendably, the proceeds went to her own foundation, Fund for Good.
We'll definitely talk more about her philanthropy later. That's impressive.
For sure. She also did a vinyl exclusive EP for Record Store Day, Black Friday 2023, Guts, The Secret Tracks. A nice nod to the fans.
Oh, nice. And she was involved with the Hunger Games soundtrack, too.
Mm-hmm. She wrote and performed Can't Catch Me Now for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Came out November 2023, and it won a Hollywood Music and Media Award.
Busy year, and obviously another massive tour followed.
The Guts World Tour kicked off February 2024, running through October, hitting everywhere: North America, Europe, Asia, Oceania. It's huge.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Olivia Rodrigo's amazing journey, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future stories here on Tell Me More.
Good reminder. Yeah, the tour's been massive. And she even released a deluxe version of the album, Guts, Spilled, in March 2024 with 5 extra songs.
Our Guts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a really cool moment for rock fans. She showed up at Coachella during No Doubt set in April 2024.
No way. With Gwen Stefani.
Yeah. They performed Bathwater together. Must have been incredible.
Wow. Full circle moment, given her parents' music taste.
Totally. And fans can relive the tour soon, too. She just announced the Guts World Tour concert film is coming to Netflix on October 29th, 2024.
Oh, people will be excited for that. And looking even further ahead.
She's headlining the BST Hyde Park show in London in 2025. That'll be her biggest UK headlining show ever. The scale just keeps growing.
It's undeniable. Okay, let's shift focus a bit to her artistry. Who does she point to as major influences?
Well, she's been very open about her love for Taylor Swift and Lorde, calls them idols, primary inspirations. She famously called herself Swift's biggest fan.
Right, and she's given them writing credits too, hasn't she?
Respectfully. Interpolation credits for Swift and Jack Antonoff on One Step Forward, Three Steps Back, and retroactively for them and Annie Clark St. Vincent on Deja Vu.
Interesting. Any other key influences?
She's talked a lot about the White Stripes, especially the album Elephant, called Jack White her hero of all heroes.
Okay, so that rock element is definitely intentional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For Sour, the list she mentioned was pretty diverse. Alanis Morissette, Casey Musgraves, Fiona Apple, St. Vincent.
The powerful female artists.
Exactly. But also Cardi B, Gwen Stefani, Avril Lavigne, Billie Eilish, Halsey, Gracie Abrams, Lana Del Rey. A real mix.
And for Guts, did that shift?
She said Guts leaned more into punk and alternative rock. Specifically mentioned bands like Babes in Toyland and Rage Against the Machine as inspirations.
You can hear that heavier sound coming through on Guts. So how do people describe her actual sound, her genre?
Vocally, she's a soprano. Genre-wise, it's generally pop, but it really slides between pop rock, teen pop, indie pop, and definitely has that 90s alternative rock feel woven in. But she emphasizes being a songwriter first. Apparently, a key reason she signed with Geffen was because the CEO praised her songwriting specifically, not just her potential as a pop star.
That's telling.
Yeah. And critics often talk about her leading this new wave of songwriters who really focus on, inward emotions, heartache, mental health, sadness, but with this really raw, realistic perspective in these big power ballads.
That vulnerability is definitely a huge part of her appeal, I think. People connect with that honesty.
Absolutely. Now, beyond the music, she's branched out into other things too. Brand partnerships and such.
Yeah, a few interesting ones. She was a brand ambassador for Caseify back in 2021, even did some creative direction for a sour-themed phone case line.
Okay.
Then in April 2022, she became the first celebrity partner for Glossier.
Oh, interesting fit.
And she did a collab with Sony on special LinkBuds S earbuds in 2023. Even had a smoothie with health aid for a bit called the Good for Guts smoothie.
Ah, nice tie-in.
Right. And just recently, November 2024, announced as a global brand ambassador for Lancome.
Okay, so branching into beauty now, too. And her philanthropy, her activism, that seems pretty central, too.
It really does seem important to her right from the start. Early on, she worked with her Bizaardvark co-star Madison Hugh on Instagram's #KindComments campaign.
Promoting positivity online.
Yeah, and she worked with My Friend's Place, supporting homeless youth. She was a speaker for the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media, face of the She Can STEM campaign.
Wow, quite involved early on.
And she's used her merch and platform for fundraising. Sold Spicy Pisces t-shirts for She's the First. Sold clothes from her videos on Depop for charity.
Right.
Donated part of her Sour Tour ticket sales to Women for Women International. Donated a signed guitar for epidermolysis bullosa research.
That's a specific cause.
Yeah. Participated in virtual concerts for musicians on call. And pretty notably, she was involved in that White House push for youth COVID-19 vaccinations back in July 2021.
Right. I remember seeing photos of her with President Biden and Vice President Harris.
Exactly. And she's been outspoken on issues, too. Famously performed Lily Allen's Fuck You at Glastonbury with Lily Allen herself, dedicating it to the Supreme Court justices after Roe v. Wade was overturned.
That was a huge moment. Made a lot of headlines.
Definitely. And her commitment continues. She launched her own foundation, Fund for Good, in October 2023.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It specifically focuses on supporting reproductive health care for women and girls, and she's directing a portion of the Guts World Tour profits to the fund. That's significant.
Yeah. And she put actions behind it, too, like distributing condoms and emergency contraception at her St. Louis show where there are restrictions.
Wow, that's direct action.
Donated to women's shelters in Canada, Women Against Violence Europe during the tour legs there. She also endorsed Kamala Harris for the 2024 election.
Okay.
And just recently, for her concert in the Philippines, she donated all the net proceeds to JPIEGO, which is a global women's health nonprofit affiliated with Johns Hopkins.
Her commitment seems really genuine and integrated into what she does.
It really does. And finally, just to touch on the awards and recognition, because it's extensive.
It really is. We mentioned the Grammy.
3 Grammys, yeah. 7 Billboard Music Awards, 4 MTV VMAs, an American Music Award. The list goes on. Time Entertainer of the Year 2021, Billboard Woman of the Year 2022. Huge honors.
Definitely.
She's won Songwriter of the Year from Escape twice and from Variety. Billboard put her on their honorable mentions for the 25 greatest pop stars of the 21st century.
High praise indeed.
And Rolling Stone called her Gen Z's preeminent rock star. Plus that Hollywood Music and Media Award for the Hunger Games song, a Juno Award for Sour. It's just a massive pile of accolades already.
It really underscores the impact she's had in such a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah.
So Olivia Rodrigo's journey, it really is this amazing story of talent, sure, but also hard work and this real connection she makes with her audience.
Yeah, from Disney Channel beginnings to just dominating the music industry, she keeps evolving. And she uses her voice, her platform, for things she cares about.
What's so fascinating, I think, is that blend. That Y2K aesthetic nostalgia mixed with super raw, super contemporary songwriting. She just captures the messiness of being young in a way that hits globally.
That vulnerability in the music, plus the activism,
Mhm.
it makes her a really compelling figure right now.
It really does, and it kind of leaves you, the listener, with something to think about. How do these artists like Olivia, who come from acting, manage to transition so successfully into music, like becoming such major forces?
Right. What does that tell us about fame now? About artistic expression in this digital age where lines are so blurred?
Exactly. It's definitely something interesting to chew on as you explore more music and stories. Thanks for tuning in to Tell Me More.